everyone, and thank you so much for joining me on this very special Matcha Talk with the amazing Herb Moore. Herb Moore is an incredible animation director and artist that absolutely inspires me through his wonderful work. You've seen it. He's worked on Cartoon Network, Universal, Warner Brothers, and now Disney. Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, Phineas and Ferb. I could go on and on and on. Needless to say, he is one of the most amazing artists that I know inside and out. And every year he takes a trip to Guatemala for Habitat for Humanity. He's been doing this for 4 years, and I have had the fortune to be able to share in this experience with him by having a matcha talk. So I'm so very, very excited to share my matcha talk with the incredible Herb Moore. Good morning, Herb. Oh, you're getting your sip in. I love it. I know. I have my matcha right here, sir. I'm all ready to go. So thank you so much for just taking your time. I know how busy you are, but I've dedicated this matcha talk especially to you because you truly are one of the most amazing artists that I know, and you inspire me and so many people everywhere through your amazing work, through who you are, and recently your trip for Habitat for Humanity.
Yes,
Which I'm so very excited to share
me
because
too.
looking at your pictures and everything that you've done, I said, I have to share Herb's story, right? So you do Habitat for Humanity, Herb, but you do it out in Guatemala.
Yes, yes. This has been the fourth year in a row that I have gone to Guatemala. It's always been for 9 days at the end of September,
Hmm.
and I know there are magnificent places all around the world, but I have to tell you, Guatemala and the Guatemalan people are so fantastic. It's just a very humbling but so satisfying experience to be able to do this. I just can't express how much it really means to me.
I'm like smiling and smiling because I saw the pictures and I'll be posting them on the website and Matcha Talks Facebook page. And I love the photos because, especially with the children, you're just like smiling and they're glowing, and everyone is just like so happy. You're working so hard, but you're building these amazing dreams, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. And Mary, the fantastic thing, or one of the fantastic things about this trip is most of the Guatemalan people, or at least those that we are in contact with when we're building these houses, they speak no English. And I don't speak Spanish, but we do have a translator.
Hmm.
Ironically, most of the families also, they speak very little Spanish, some of them. They speak Mayan, and which has to be translated through the translator or interpreter.
Hmm.
Um, but it's fascinating that these people who use an ancient language to speak have such a warm reception to people from all around the world, but specifically for us when we come from America. It's just, there's no language barrier because they're happy to see us, and the kids especially because they look at us as friends.
Hmm.
It's just, just all the barriers are down. You're there to help. We're kind of ambassadors, which seems like a fancy term,
Hmm.
but it's just to be with those kids and be with those families, and know that we're amazed to be with them and they're amazed to have us
Hmm.
is such a warm, soul satisfying feeling. It's fantastic.
And I love that. And you said, the language barriers and, having a translator, but truly, love is a universal language.
Yes.
It
Yes.
truly is, and everyone feels it, and that energy is so powerful. So,
Yeah.
you communicate through, of course, words, but then also your actions and, the love that you're sharing by what you're doing and how you're helping these beautiful people.
Yes. And I have to say my hats off to habitat because they do such a great job. I mean, they have a very strong presence in Guatemala. They do such a great job of setting these programs up where we come in for a week to help local masons who are hired by Habitat to build these houses. And like I say, I don't know, in the 4 years that I've been doing this, I don't think any of the crews that I've worked on spoke English at all. So the masons and their assistants and the families, I will take that back. There was one young lady the last 2 years ago. She spoke English, who we were building the house for, but she had a job in Guatemala City, so we only saw her 2 times during the course of the week that we had the build, and the rest of her family spoke Spanish and Mayan. And other than that, I have never worked on a crew where the masons or assistants or the family spoke English. But like you say, the love factor, I mean, we're down there because we want to do this.
Right.
So there's this genuine love, I want to help out my fellow man. And then they have this love for the fact that they're getting something very special. Most of the Guatemalan people out in the countryside have adobe type houses that gradually deteriorate in their very, very moist climate. So to get a cinder block house is a very, very big to do for them. So they have this love of, wow, these people have come here to help us have a home. It's fantastic. I could ramble on and say the same thing.
I'm just sitting there. I'm just like taking it all in. And I know that everybody who is going to be watching this will also be so inspired and excited. And for those watching, they know Habitat for Humanity, a very well-known organization. So tell me, because, we have houses being built all around the country. And you chose to go, across the world to Guatemala, and take us through that journey. Like, how did you get started? Because 4 years now you've been going to Guatemala. So what inspired you to say, you know what, I want to go here and really, really, make a big difference somewhere else in the world?
Right. It's a very interesting story for me in that the gentleman who heads up our annual trip is a good friend of mine by the name of Brett Wims. Brett works for Thrivent Financial, and Thrivent Financial puts a lot of money into Habitat for Humanity around the world. And Brett and I go to the same church, and I've been friends with Brett for years. And every year, Brett stands up in front of our church and says, we're doing our trip. If you feel led to come, then contact me. And so I've heard this spiel, for lack of a better term, before, but 4.5 years ago, when Brett got up and did this, then something really stirred inside of me saying, now's the time, and it's time to give back. And I had never been to Guatemala, even though I'd been to Mexico and Cancun. And I love the warm weather and I love the tropics, but something that year spoke to me that said, it's my time to get involved, maybe to give back. Maybe my heart was ready. Right. But so I approached Brett about it, and we sat down in his office, and he went through the program and what's expected. And he said, if you feel the call to do this, then you should do it. But it's a lot of work. It's a good time. You'll meet a lot of great people. It's not a vacation, but we have things set up where, all you have to do is open your heart to doing this. So I really was undaunted. I really felt inspired and called to do this. So I flew down with this group. There was about 30 of us. Most of us were from the LA area. Most of us were from Santa Clarita, where I'm living. But there were a few friends that Brett had through the years that would come in. I think they were retired in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So they would fly down to Guatemala City from Dallas. We would meet there. And then usually what we did is we'd take a red eye out of Los Angeles on a Friday night. We would land Saturday morning in Guatemala City. They had a large bus set aside or rented, and it would take us from Guatemala City about 2 hours out into the countryside to a very large restaurant. It's hard to describe. The Guatemalan country is very rural, very mountainous in many areas, at least what I have seen. I know it goes from the Pacific to the Gulf, but there's volcanoes, and it's very
Saw
lush.
pictures
And
of that.
yeah,
Yes.
it's incredible. It really is incredible
Yeah.
countryside. But this restaurant is this big wooden log place, very pretty, but very rustic in comparison to maybe what I was exposed at here in the United States. So we stopped there for an annual breakfast, which was local food, but prepared so that, we could eat it. And I say that not so humorously. It is kind of funny how we have instructions not to eat certain things and drink water and so forth so that we don't end up getting sick. But they have done enough research to know that there are places that you can go as Americans to eat and be able to drink water and not, have any digestive problems. Anyway, so we have this breakfast. We get back on the bus. We take another 2 hours, and then we end up in this hotel. I think I call it a resort because I'm fascinated with it, but it's not a resort by U.S. standards. Beautiful place, though, beautiful grounds. And it's right on what is called Lake Atilan. And Atilan is this 5-mile by 7-mile lake situated down in these canyons, and across the way, as if you've seen the pictures, are 3 dormant volcanoes.
Right.
Beautiful, beautiful area. The water's beautiful, and there's 10 or 11 small communities around the lake. And where we're at is called Panajachel. I don't know how many people are there, Mary. There might be, in Panajachel, maybe 1,000. I'm guessing it's a very small place, maybe a couple thousand. But this Lake Atilan hotel that we stay at is very beautiful, but it's very traditional architecture and so forth. The lady and her husband that own it, I believe, are American, and they came down, 60 years ago, bought this property. I kind of it's probably more like 40 actually, but anyway, they bought it, they expanded it, they keep it up. We stay there for the week. They feed us beautiful, wonderful food. It's all healthy, great stuff prepared. And then they give us sack lunches when we go out to our build sites. And then we have a dinner at the end of the day. So it's all done as a group. And this year we had approximately 25 people. We start our day with a devotion. We eat breakfast. We go work. We eat lunch with our sack lunches. We come back. We have dinner together. And then you can disperse, and if you want to go into town, they have what they call tuk-tuks, which are little 3-wheel vehicles, a driver in the front. And if you're small enough, you could get 3 people in the back. If you're large like me, it's 2 people at best. And they hardly move uphill because we're so heavy, but that's how you get around. But the experience is so great because everybody is happy for us to be there. And each day that we go to the build site, there is a van that's provided with a driver that takes us to our specific site. And so we'll have the same driver and van all week long. And we go out into the countryside, into the mountains and fields, and they grow a lot of corn. So most of what you see is corn, and corn that's 10 or 12 feet tall. I mean, it just is absolutely incredible. It grows so well because the dirt is so great there, and obviously the rain and moisture. And we go to these houses, and the mason and his assistants are usually already there. They may have dug the trenches that we'll be putting our footers in and building the blocks on, or setting the blocks on. And their job is, the mason and his assistants are hired by Habitat. They're local masons. Their job is to take it from start to finish. Our job is to come in for a week and assist them in this process. And my understanding is that no one else comes in before or after. So it's specifically set up for us to come in and help build this house. And as much work as we get done is based on weather, terrain, supplies, and how fast or slow the mason and his crew, which might be another person or might be 3 other people, can get the work done. And every job site that I've been on is very, very different, from being out in the direct sunlight to being underneath huge trees and totally shaded, to having 2 kids around, to having 30 kids around. It's just an amazing experience. And as I said, no one speaks English except our translator. And by the end of the week, we have a ceremony on Friday at lunchtime where we dedicate the house to the family. We give them a Bible in Spanish, and Habitat performs this, and then we're there as the volunteers, of course. And you take pictures and you cry, and the kids are laughing and running around, and then we leave, and it's just a really heartfelt, warm but sad experience, because in the 5 days you're there, you're so welcomed. You get to know these families and the kids, and now you're going to leave them and probably never see them again, but you've had an impact on their life.
Absolutely.
And then we let them know that they've had an impact on our lives, because they are such fantastic, warm people. Right. And then to sum it up, we take a 2.5 hour trip on the bus to Antigua, which is kind of halfway between Panajachel and Guatemala City. And we get to be tourists for a couple of days and relax. And then early Monday morning, we board a plane in Guatemala City and fly back to Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the trip in a nutshell. Fantastic experience. It's actually like 9.5 days, just crazy meaningful, just, life-changing.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too, Herb, is that, you've made such a huge impact on these lives and brought so many lives together on such a profound, positive way, and so that experience, that memory, all of that stays with them forever, and with you as well. And, and you being such an incredibly talented artist, I'm sure you have your markers and your papers, and and sharing that art with the kids, I'm sure just like smiles all around as well. Definitely. And that really is, that's so important, and so once you're done and you've wrapped up and the group is off, and you say you never see them again, do you ever, like, when you go back, go and visit the homes that you've built, and dreams you've made happen and families you've touched?
We have a couple of years ago, the first build I was on 4 years ago, I guess it was 2 years ago, we drove back to the house to see it. And the young couple that had qualified and had the house had painted it, decorated it a little bit. And it was really nice because, of course, we built a cinder block house with, wood roof structure. And I can't remember, I think they actually have tin for the actual roofing. And they had painted the place white, and they had up it really was a white picket fence, but it was kind of rustic. It wasn't Home Depot bought material. They'd planted a few flowers, and but you could see that they were very proud of what they had. And so we just literally stopped and said hello, and then got back in the van and went on to our job site. And it was really kind of cool to see again how much it meant to them,
Absolutely.
It was just, and I remember the area real well because the young man's father not only was a farmer, but he also was a woodworker. He took us into his wood shop the year that we worked for them and gave us a tour of how they cut their logs into planks and how they treat the planks, and then how they cut the planks into the wood they need for dressers and beds and so forth. And it's all done by hand. I mean, they have some carving tools, but these guys were amazing woodworkers that I've often said, if I could figure out a reasonable way of buying the furniture there and then having it shipped to the United States, I mean, it's just incredible furniture, rustic, but all handmade. And so he gave us a tour of this shop, and it was just, and here they are out in the middle of this mountainous farming area. It's just a great experience. It's just absolutely fantastic. So yes, to answer your question, it was fun to go and see this family. That's the only time I've gone back to a build, because we kind of have to convince our driver on our way over here, do you mind going way over here? And we have to remember how to get there too.
Right. I was thinking, so the terrain is probably a little rough as well, right? So kind of going in, because I saw you're talking about the trenches, and the trenches are pretty deep from what I've
Yeah,
seen in your
yeah,
photos. I mean, that's like a lot of work.
yeah,
Definitely that you do. It's
yeah.
not like you said a vacation, although the photos that you posted from the resort that you stay at, like when you
Right.
first got there, were absolutely stunning. I mean, they
Yeah.
were just beautiful. And then you showed the volcanoes,
Yes.
which
Yes.
are, literally right there.
Yeah. It's crazy because here in Southern California we have mountains.
Mm-hmm.
They're fantastic, big, huge mountains.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in Guatemala and you see these volcanoes that have bases that are miles wide, and they literally go way up into the sky, and if there's any moisture at all, there's clouds over top of the volcano, so you may not get to see the top of it unless it's an
Mm-hmm.
extremely clear morning. Usually by mid-afternoon, everything there's the clouds all the time. It's so, it really brings you down to being a very small part of this earth because
Mm-hmm.
it's such a huge landscape, but it's stunning.
Yeah.
I wish, now I think there were a couple people that maybe filmed a storm that was across the lake one night that was in between two volcanoes, and the lightning was just flashing and streaking, but it never even came close to us. So we were like on the other side of the lake just watching it like you would a movie. But it
Right.
was so awesome because it was so huge. I mean, because we knew these volcanoes were like 10 or 15 miles apart, and here this storm was moving through them and on both sides, and then it diverted away from us. It
Wow.
is. It's almost like heaven on earth in Guatemala. It was just incredible,
That
stunning.
is absolutely beautiful. You didn't have your phone out. I would have been like I would have been filming everything, live photos, and like video, like all of it. I'm just like, oh, I'm
I think
there
I was
with
in.
you.
I think I was in awe where my mouth would have taken, was big enough to put a movie camera inside of. I mean, I was just really like, I mean, I
Oh,
love seeing that, but I really was blown away that it's like,
yeah.
here's this display. Uh, it's just crazy good.
Is it?
Crazy.
I mean, nature truly is the biggest inspiration. I mean, it really is. It's so beautiful and just wild, and to be a part of it and to, see it and witness it. And, for me and Jason, when we went to the Grand Canyon, I had been before and I took Jason, and it was just like just showing him that. And I think when you're looking over it, and we just gotten there over sunset, so the sun
Yeah.
was setting, and it's so powerful. And like you said, you feel like you're just such a small part,
Yeah.
of this world, but such a significant part as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just that appreciation and the love that you feel for such beauty,
Yeah.
is overwhelming. And thank you so much for sharing, because you're like, I'm off to Guatemala, it's my yearly trip, I'll be seeing you soon. And we're all like, oh, we're all excited waiting for photos and checking and everything. And we know that you're working hard and just changing lives like you do, Herb. And I just want to say thank you so much for everything you do, on so many levels. I mean, truly, every time, I read something of yours or talk with you, you're always doing something really wonderful for someone or a group of people, artists. So thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, you really are welcome, Mary, because for me, and I think it's more our human nature, when we take the time to really think about helping others and see
Mm-hmm.
that there is a great need, no matter how big or small it is, uh, there's nothing that brings more kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And Guatemala and habitat is, such a big thing to
Mm-hmm.
do. It really is. And I've been blessed to go for 4 years in a row. But it could also be as simple as, like you said, drawing a picture for somebody that brings a smile to their face. And the fact that you give that to them and share it
Mm-hmm.
can stir a heart as well. It's a great feeling. And I think we need to all be a little bit more responsible and try to bring smiles to other people's faces, and as artists we can do
Absolutely.
that through our artwork as well.
Yes, definitely. I always say creativity is the biggest, brightest light in the world, right?
Yes.
Because that's your voice that you're sharing to impact somebody else. And it could be somebody right in front of you, it could be somebody all the way across the world.
Yeah.
And it's very, very powerful. And I think that what we focus on, if we see and we are aware of the reality, but then we also make the choice to make a difference
Yeah.
and to be positive and to put that light out there, because I always say everything's connected, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we are, the earth, the animals, the environment, everything is connected together. So, what we give to one then has an effect to everything. And just awareness,
Yeah.
having that awareness of what's going on and what can I do, because my life is significant to impact so many people. And and you do that, I do that through just talking, through the actions that we take, and through raising awareness, through you sharing your Habitat for Humanity journey. And there's going to be more information on that and how people can get involved. And I'm so excited to share that and to just really, really, be the light in where you are. You don't have to, like you said, do these amazingly like huge things and feel like I have to do that to make a difference.
Right. Right. Or feel like that's what I want to do, but I
Right.
can't, so
Right.
I don't matter,
Right.
because we do matter, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every single person matters and has that power to make a difference
Yeah.
in the smallest way impacts in the biggest way.
Yes. Yes.
And you, sir, impact in the greatest way for everyone who knows and loves you. And I treasure you, as you know, in your friendship. And I thank you so, so much, Herb, for being a part of my matcha talk this morning and sharing your experience, and habitat with everybody. And just how we really make an impact to everyone that we
Yeah.
meet and encounter. And it doesn't matter if we speak their language or not, right? So that definitely doesn't matter, because a smile, a hug, and just the feeling of love and appreciation is universal.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you, Mary. I appreciate our friendship, and am very thankful for the opportunity to share some of these wonderful memories, and hopefully there are a few people that are inspired out there to check out Habitat, and maybe
Absolutely.
venture out.
Yes, definitely. I know they will. And I say thank you again. And I'm sending you the biggest hug, biggest Wi Fi hug to
Right
you,
back at you.
Hermore. Oh, I love it. I feel it. It's the best. And you go enjoy your day. Have a wonderful day with your family and all of the fun things that you have planned, because I know it's very full. And thank you again for sharing with us. And I'm excited to share your pictures, links to Habitat, and all of the wonderful, wonderful things that you have shared with us today. Herb, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary.
Have a great day. I know that all of you are as inspired as I am by Herb Moore and his wonderful journey for Habitat for Humanity. To find out more, you can find the link for Habitat for Humanity on Matcha Talk's Facebook page and my show's website, baddaycate.com. There you'll also see pictures from Herb's trip, as well as a bio and him just sharing a few wonderful words about his trips to Habitat. We each have the power to make a difference in our world, to each other, our families, animals, the environment, by the choices that we make and what we choose to view. It's been a very, very challenging past couple of months, and it tends to make us feel very negative and powerless, but we're not. We're very, very powerful. And what we focus on is what we bring into the world. So focus on the light, focus on positivity, Focus on what you can do with where you are right now. Your lives are so powerful and so valuable, and everything that you have to offer, this world needs right now. So get involved in your community, in everyone's lives that you know. Give them that hug. Tell them that you love them. Remember, love is a universal language. As I always say, go be the light and go love what you do and do what you love.